No more lies. Kyle unleashes all the photos. Holden's double life revealed. Claire stunned. The sun was coming up. It was shining through the blinds at the Chancellor Place. The light made lines across the floor in the living room. Claire's hands were shaking a little as she held her coffee. She was looking at Kyle, who was on the side of the room. Kyle usually seemed calm and in control. Now he looked really different. His eyes had a lot of anger in them. He was moving quickly. Claire could tell that Kyle was going to do something. He had a look in his eyes. The Chancellor Mansion was quiet except for Kyle's movements. Claire was watching Kyle. She knew that he was going to change things. The morning sun was still shining through the blinds and Claire was waiting to see what Kyle would do. Kyle had that look that Claire had seen before. It was the look that said he was going to do something that would change everything in one moment. She had a feeling that was sitting in the pit of her stomach. The feeling was really strong. It would not go away. It was like the pit of her stomach was filled with something. The pit of her stomach was telling her something was wrong. Kyle said to me, "You have been hiding things from me." His voice was really low. He spoke very slowly, but it was scary. "These are things that I do not think you know I am aware of yet." He started walking slowly around the room. His fancy shoes made a noise on the wooden floor. It seemed like he was thinking about each step he took and each word he said. He was bringing up stuff that they had not talked about in a long time. Claire's heart was beating fast. She could hardly breathe. Kyle was talking about secrets and Claire was getting really nervous. She had really hoped that Holden's secrets would stay hidden. Kyle was very good at finding out the truth even when it was hard to see, and now there was no way to stop him from telling everything about Holden's secrets. Claire said, "I do not know what you mean," in a voice. Her eyes kept looking at the staircase. She was really scared that Holden would come down and say something. Kyle just kept staring at her. He did not look away. Claire knew that she could not just talk her way out of this situation with Kyle. The conversation with Kyle was not going to be easy for Claire. Kyle was not going to let it go. Kyle said, "You think I do not know about the photos?" His voice got a little louder. "I know about every one of them. Every lie you told. Every time you did not tell the truth. Every time you tried to make me think your life was better than it really was. I have seen it all. I have all the photos of you. The photos show me what you were really doing. I have every one of the photos and I know about every single lie you told me, every single time you were not honest with me," Kyle said. Claire's lips opened wide in shock. "Kyle, I was going to say something," she said. Then she stopped. Claire realized that no matter what she said now, Kyle would not believe her. The truth was pretty clear. Kyle had all the proof he needed to know what was going on. Claire thought about what she could say to make things better. She knew that nothing would work. Kyle had all the evidence there in his hands. Kyle did not give her a chance to say anything. He walked over to the coffee table, spread out a bunch of shiny pictures all over it. Claire just stood there, her eyes getting really big as she saw the faces and places in the pictures. She saw pictures of Holden talking to someone in secret. These pictures showed her that Holden had another life that she did not know about. The pictures showed her things that she wished she did not see. They made her question everything she thought she knew about the man she loved, about Holden. "Tell me, Claire," Kyle said, leaning over the table. He looked really angry. "How long were you going to keep this a secret? From me? From all of us? I mean, Claire, how long did you think you could keep living two lives without someone figuring it out? Claire, did you really think you could do this without anyone noticing what was going on with Claire?" Claire's hands were. Her mind was going really fast. She always knew that Kyle was very good at figuring things out, that he could see right through people who were not being honest. She did not think he would understand everything so soon, so totally. Claire's chest felt tight as she felt the weight of what was happening. Holden's lies were not his problem anymore. They were also Claire's problem because she was close to him, because people thought they were connected, and because she had trusted him. Kyle was getting close to the truth. That was scary for Claire. The lies that Holden had told were now affecting Claire too. Kyle's eyes got a little softer. He was still really angry. He said, "I trusted you, Claire. I trusted both of you. Now everything you said, every word, every time you smiled at me, it all feels like you were not telling the truth. Every promise you made to me, every word you said, every smile. It feels like a lie, Claire." I thought I could trust you. Now I do not know what to think about you and your promises and your words and your smiles, Claire. Claire felt a lump in her throat. The truth about everything was really sinking in now. She had really wanted to think that Holden was a person. She had hoped that things would be easy to understand. The pictures she saw told a different story. They showed that Holden was not honest with her. He was living two lives at the same time. Claire was stuck in the middle. She did not know what was real and what was not. The pictures made her feel like she had been lied to and betrayed. She thought about Holden. How he had deceived her. Claire was trying to make sense of everything. It was all very confusing. She looked at the pictures again. Thought about Holden, the man she thought she knew. Kyle looked at the photos one at a time. He was trying to figure out what happened and when. He wanted to know how everything was connected. Kyle was looking for proof that Holden was living a life. Claire watched Kyle. She could tell he was thinking really hard. She saw him thinking about everything he had learned far. Kyle was getting ready to talk to Holden about what he had found out. This conversation was going to happen, no what. Kyle was preparing himself for it. He was looking at the photos of Holden, trying to understand what was going on. Kyle asked this after a while. His voice was not as loud now. It was still very serious. He wanted to know why he was not told about this before. Was the person afraid to tell him? Were they feeling ashamed about it? Did they think that it would all just go away on its own, that the problem would somehow fix itself, that the whole thing would just disappear and Kyle would never have to know about it, that the truth about it would never come out? Claire's throat got tight. She really wanted to explain things, to make people understand, to say sorry. She could not find the words. The truth was just too hard to deal with. It was all too much for her. Claire could only nod a bit. It was a very small movement, like she was saying she was sorry, hoping that would make the hurt a little less bad. Kyle's hands shook a little as he picked up the photos. He held them tight to his chest. These photos were like pieces of a puzzle that he had finally figured out. Holden thought he could be in charge of everything, Kyle said. His voice was really quiet now. He did not think about me. He did not think about the fact that some things are going to come out later. Some truths are going to come out no matter what. Kyle thought about this for a moment. The photos in his hands were proof that Holden could not control everything. Holden could not keep some things hidden forever. Claire felt a chill run down her spine. She had always known that Kyle was an honest person, but actually seeing it was different. Kyle was really determined to find out everything. He wanted to know all the secrets. Claire saw that she could not get away from this. She could not change the subject. Say something to make everything okay. The truth was there in front of them. Kyle had found out that Claire was living a life. Now that he knew things could never go back to the way they were. Claire and Kyle were in a situation because of her double life. The room was really quiet for a moment. You could hear the city outside. It was making a noise. There was also a clock ticking far away. Claire was thinking hard. She was trying to figure out what Kyle would do next. She wanted to know what would happen to all of them. Claire knew that things could not stay the same after this. The way people felt about each other would change. Some friends would not be friends anymore. People who worked together would start working against each other. When you do not trust someone, it is very hard to start trusting them again. Kyle looked up from the photos and his eyes met Claire's eyes. He said, I do not know what you will do now or what Holden will do next. But one thing is for sure. The truth is out. The truth is out. Everyone will see the truth. Claire felt scared and relieved at the time. She was scared because she did not know what would happen next. She was relieved because she did not have to keep lying and pretending anymore. Claire thought that for the time in a long time everything was clear. It was not a feeling, but at least she knew what was really going on with the fallout and everything. The weight of all the lies was finally. That felt good. Claire had clarity. That was a big deal, even if it was painful. Kyle turned to leave the room. He walked with a purpose. His face did not show what he was thinking. Claire watched Kyle go. Her heart felt sad because she knew the few days would be very tough for everyone. It would be a test of how strong people were, how loyal they were to each other, and how brave they could be. The truth about Holden's life was out and everything was going to change in Genoa City. The city of Genoa City would never be the same again. Genoa City was in for a big surprise. Outside, the wind stirred the branches of the trees, rattling the windows in a haunting rhythm. It was as if the world itself was responding to the upheaval inside the mansion, acknowledging that the calm veneer of normalcy had been shattered. Claire wrapped her arms around herself, trying to hold on to the fragments of composure she had left, knowing that the storm of emotions, revelations, and confrontations was only just beginning. The following hours in Genoa City were marked by creepy pressure. Claire paced the length of her apartment, her phone gripped tightly in her hand. Every announcement made her blench, every ring of the doorbell transferred her heart racing. She knew that word of Kyle's discovery would spread presto. Secrets no way stayed hidden then for long. And Holden would not remain idle. Meanwhile, Kyle had retreated to his office, a sanctum of order amidst chaos. He spread the prints across his office formally again, studying them with scrupulous care. Each image told a story, each regard captured a verity. There were prints of covert meetings in shadowy alleys, rumored exchanges in quiet corners of upmarket cafes, and intimate moments with people Claire didn't indeed fate. Kyle's jaw tensed as he traced the lines of deception Holden had woven. "This ends now," he murmured, nearly to himself, his voice a low scowl. He picked up his phone and began calling a many trusted abettors, people who had a stake in exposing Holden's duplicity. Each call was precise, measured, a chess move in a game that had suddenly come veritably high stakes. Back at Claire's apartment, the sound of the elevator gestured a caller. She sat, her mind contending through possibilities. When the door slid open, it wasn't Holden. It was Phyllis, her expression a blend of concern and curiosity. "Claire," Phyllis began cautiously, stepping outside. I heard commodity happed with Kyle. What's going on?" Claire dithered, trying to find the words to explain. It's worse than you suppose," she admitted. "Kyle has the prints he knows about Holden's double life. Everything." Phyllis's eyes widened. Everything. Her voice carried unbelief and a hint of fear. "Claire, you have to be careful. If this gets out, if Holden finds out Kyle's got proof." "I know," Claire intruded, the despair in her voice slightly contained. "I've been trying to figure out what to do, but I don't know if there's anything I can do. Kyle's not going to back down, and Holden is not the man I allowed." "I knew." Phyllis placed a hand on Claire's shoulder, offering a small anchor in the swirling storm. "You're not alone," she said vocally. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together. But we need to be smart. This isn't just about Holden, it's about everyone he's prevaricated to, everyone he's hurt." At that moment, Kyle's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, a communication from Jack Newman. "Kyle, I heard. Meet me at the Newman Ranch. We need to map before this blows up." Kyle's lips tensed into a grim smile. The gears of a larger plan were formally turning. By mid-afternoon, word of the prince had started to blunder through whispers in Genoa City. At Crimson Lights, the usual buzz of casual discussion was pointed by hushed enterprise. Sharon Newman, ever alert to pressure, noticed incontinently that commodity was out. She glanced toward Kyle, who sat in a corner, papers and prints piled neatly in front of him. His face was a mask of attention, but Sharon could see the intensity in his eyes. "What's going on?" she asked, sliding into the seat across from him. Kyle looked up, his aspect sharp. "Sharon, you didn't hear this from me, but Holden's living a double life. Every bit of it, every secret. I've the evidence." Sharon heaved. "Holden? No, it's C&B. I mean, why?" Kyle shook his head. "That's what we're going to figure out. But for now, you need to stay quiet. And be careful. He doesn't know I've the prints yet, but he'll find out soon." The pressure in the room was palpable. Indeed, the faint hum of the coffee machine sounded to fade under the weight of the disclosure. Sharon's mind contended. She had known Holden to be fascinating, conclusive, occasionally manipulative, but this was beyond anything she had imagined. Meanwhile, Holden sat in his extension, ignorant that his precisely constructed world was unraveling. He belted whiskey from a crystal-clear glass, gaping out over the megacity with a reflective expression. But indeed, as he enjoyed the view, a eating apprehension began to settle in his casket. Commodity was out. He could feel it, the shift in the air, the turnabout of pressure that had suddenly grown insolvable to ignore. His phone bucketed, breaking the silence. He picked it up and saw a communication from an unknown number we know. The prince. UCA and hide presently. Holden's breath caught. For the first time, fear flitted across his generally imperturbable features. He goggled at the communication, the walls of his control beginning to deteriorate. His double life, the bone he'd maintained with similar care, was slipping down. Back at the Newman ranch, Kyle and Jack sat across from each other. The prince spread like a battleground between them. Jack's face was set in grim determination. "This is worse than I allowed," he admitted. "Holden's been manipulating everyone, playing people like pawns. But now we've the upper hand." Kyle leaned back, exhausted but bent. "We do. But we need to be strategic, however. He'll cover his tracks, destroy substantiation, if we defy him too beforehand. We've to plan this precisely." Jack jounced. "And what about Claire? And Sharon? We need to make sure they're defended. Holden's temper, you know how dangerous he can be when cornered." Kyle rubbed his tabernacles. "I've formally advised them. They know what's coming. But we can't underrate him. His clever and hopeless people are dangerous. But we're not backing down. Not now. Not ever." As night fell over Genoa City, the pressure escalated. Holden, seeing the walls closing in, tried to reach Claire. He called, texted, indeed transferred a auto to pick her up, but Claire, bolstered by Phyllis's support and Kyle's warnings, refused to answer. She had to cover herself, and the substantiation Kyle had uncovered meant she couldn't risk trusting him any longer. Meanwhile, Kyle prepared for a citywide battle. He'd clones of the prince, a plan to reveal Holden's deception intimately, and a network of abettors ready to stand by him. The stakes were enormous, and the fallout would be disastrous, but Kyle knew the verity had to come out, no matter the cost. The coming morning, the megacity sounded nearly unconscious to the impending storm. People went about their routines, ignorant that a particular and public reckoning was about to unfold. At the Genoa City Athletic Club, Kyle convened a small but critical group: Jack, Sharon, Phyllis, and a many trusted confidants. Together, they laid out a plan to defy Holden, expose the prince, and cover those caught in the middle. "This ends moment," Kyle said, his voice resolute. "Holden's life, his facades, they all end then. And everyone deserves to see the verity." Sharon jounced, determination flashing in her eyes. "We'll do it. But we need to be careful. He's dangerous when cornered." Jack leaned forward, surveying the room. "We'll need substantiations, media, everything. We can't let him manipulate the story again, however. There's no going back, if the verity comes out like this." Phyllis placed a reassuring hand on Kyle's arm. "We're with you. Whatever happens, you're not alone." By late autumn, Holden began to smell the storm. He arrived at the athletic club, trying to maintain his countenance, but Kyle met him at the door with the prince in hand. Holden's face blanched as he honored the substantiation. "Kyle, what's this?" Holden asked, trying to mask fear with bravado. "This," Kyle said, spreading the prince across a table, "is the life you allowed. You could hide. Every taradiddle, every treason exposed. It's over, Holden." Claire entered the room behind Kyle, her eyes surveying the prince. She saw the verity laid bare, the double life, the secrets, the backstabbings. Her stomach churned, but there was a strange relief, too. Eventually, the facade was gone. Holden's voice quivered, a admixture of wrathfulness and fear. "You can't do this, you don't understand." "I understand impeccably," Kyle intruded. "I understand that you've hurt everyone you claim to watch about. I understand that you allowed. You could control everyone, lie to everyone, and it would no way come back to you. But the verity has a way of coming out, and it's then now." The room fell silent. The prints were laid out, inarguable. Substantiations had gathered, media were staying. Holden's world, formerly strictly constructed, was worsening piece by piece. Claire took a deep breath, her voice steady despite the fermentation outside. "Holden, your double life is over. Everyone knows now. And you'll have to face the consequences." At that moment, the megacity itself sounded to break, as if holding its breath. Genoa City had seen its fair share of drama, lies, and backstabbings, but nothing like this. As the prince circulated, whispers turned to gasps, and the storm that had been brewing eventually broke. The fate would be brutal. Alliances would fracture, Gemütlichkeit tested, and hearts broken.